Tonight from Binghamton. Mayor, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
So this has been rescheduled now. Originally, it was set for August 12th, and at the time, there were reports that 8,000 people were expected. Now it has been rescheduled for 2 days, actually. Are you still expecting that many people to show up for this?
You know, there's an awful lot of people that have been paying attention to this debate, and a lot of it's raised a lot of emotions, both on the pro and con side of drilling and on those who, you know, there's people in the middle, too, who want drilling to happen but want to make sure it happens in an environmentally and economically and safe way. And so I think that, you know, there could be a big turnout. I'd be surprised if it was as high as 8,000. And obviously, if it's over 2 days, maybe, you know, that'll help as well.
Are you pleased that they actually, because in the beginning there was some question that it would be, again, in Binghamton, rescheduled for Binghamton. It was supposed to be moved to Syracuse, then it was called off entirely. Are you pleased that it's still being held again in the city?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think people here have really been paying attention. This is the heart of, arguably the heart of the Marcellus gas play, and I think it's important to have it here. It was scheduled here originally, and to make people travel a long distance to have their voices heard would be unfortunate. Obviously, now some people, we know people are traveling here from other areas, but I think this is a nice centrally located place in the Marcellus gas shale.
Now, you've actually designated some specific areas for protest because I would assume this is to make sure that things don't get out of control. How much do you think it's going to cost you to provide additional security and the kind of planning that goes into something potentially large like this might be?
Well, it's all taxpayer money, but EPA is paying every cent of the extra security money that we need. That was part of the negotiations, and they are paying the cost of all of our extra police overtime and things like that. So it's not going to cost us a penny. As far as the actual staging areas, you know, usually when you have a demonstration like somebody like that happened in Washington a couple of weeks ago with Glenn Beck and Reverend Sharpton, they're in different areas, and you don't have people coming that close to each other, and you might have a few stragglers that are protesting the other side. But in this case, we do expect a sizable amount of people from each perspective, and we just thought it was prudent to set up kind of areas for each group to gather in and have a safe place to share their views. Doesn't mean we're going to control them from you know, wandering around, but we thought this would be best to try to avoid any you know, conflicts that could lead to heated emotions or less than peaceful environment.
It strikes me that, particularly for a city like Binghamton, I mean, this could be an economic boost temporarily. I mean, certainly it's not going to give you an overnight success for coffers in the city, but certainly businesses are going to benefit from this. They must.
Oh, certainly, and we have a lot of nice things happening downtown. We have a lot of new businesses. We welcome people coming to see what's going on because, you know, that's the gauge I have is when people have come home from being away for a few years and saying, wow, you know, things are really happening downtown. People are reinvesting. All sorts of people are living downtown, new businesses and old businesses coming back to the city. So we're proud of what's happening in our center city, and this will give us an opportunity to show a lot of people. We have a great arts community, over 38 art galleries, the gorgeous Washington Street First Fridays every month. Just a lot of good things happening, a lot of beautiful river walks, and so we're hopeful that people will get a good impression of our city.
You know, this has actually become a statewide issue, the whole issue of hydrofracking and drilling. And in fact, we've seen a number of statewide candidates weigh in. We've also seen the DEC recommend that there not be drilling that would affect the New York City watershed. And it sort of served a little bit to heighten the upstate-downstate divide. I'm just curious what you're hoping comes out of these EPA hearings finally when this is all said and done.
Well, certainly we know the kind of clout that downstate has, and they should. I mean, we're talking about a water supply for 12 million people, at least 12 million people that could be damaged. But the thing is, protection of watersheds shouldn't rely on political clout. And I think that's why I'm so proud of all the people who are getting together to debate this issue, and those especially who are akin to the environmental issues of clean water. Just because we might have the political clout of downstate, this shouldn't be an environmental, environmental justice issue where you have some one area not being impacted at all and other areas being impacted greatly. So I think water supply is a water supply wherever it is, and we have to protect them all for all the residents of New York.
Well, but does that translate, in your mind, does that translate into a moratorium on drilling, such as, I know that the state Senate passed a one-house bill that would be a moratorium just until people can get a handle on this. I know that there's a concern about rushing, but also this idea that anywhere that it would impact water, perhaps there should not be drilling. That's how some people feel who are on the extreme end of opposition. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know how extreme that is. I think water is one of the most important resources of the Northeast and of New York State. And the price, water is, if you damage your water supply, badly, then you've really damaged something that you can't retrieve, and property values would decline. A lot of investment in the area would go down. So I think that, we have to make sure we protect our water. We just saw 8 more wells in Pennsylvania in the news in the last couple days of being damaged. Those on the hydrofracking side say it wasn't hydrofracking that did that, but it is the gas drilling, the whole process that's affecting gas migration and all these things. And so I think that we have to be very prudent. Hopefully the state is very prudent in how it goes about this. But one of the things we suggested in our comments to the DEC, the comments I gave them about the draft environmental impact statement, is that we don't need to go all or nothing. We could, once I think everybody knows eventually some drilling will happen, but let's do it in phases. Let's make sure we get it right. Let's make sure we have the proper severance tax in place. Let's make sure we have a bonding process to protect our infrastructure against the thousands upon thousands of trucks, heavy trucks that will go over our roadways. Make sure that everything's in place, and do it in phases so that we can see how it's working before we open up, millions of square miles to, or tens of thousands of square miles to drilling.
Attorney General Andrew Cuomo was not so long ago in your neck of the woods during his RV tour. He was upstate over the summer. He was actually protested when he came through town, not in Binghamton, I believe. He might have been protested in Ithaca. But there are clearly people
Right.
who feel very strongly about this. Do you feel like you've heard enough from him, from the man who is, of course, the front runner and most people believe might be the next governor of New York?
Well, in his position, I would... he's probably not trying to make anybody real mad. I think he made some strong statements about it being done safely, probably not to the satisfaction of some people, but, politicians who are running for office have to walk a fine line sometimes, and I think he has addressed it somewhat, but probably not to the satisfaction of everybody.
Well, I'm sure we will be hearing more from him. In the meantime, I want to thank you very much. These 2 hearings are taking place next week and bookending the primary day, so we will be watching for that. Thank you very much, Mayor Ryan, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.